Good afternoon, classmates and Dr. Petrus. Thank you for your interest in my presentation today. My name is Hannah Baker. I am a second-time college student aiming to further my education at BCOM. I am currently working towards my ABA in Global Supply Chain Management. In addition to my education here at BCOM, I am also a full-time material planner and logistics coordinator at a third-party logistics company. To say I am busy would be an understatement. My goal today is to present you with a visual learning experience that guides you through one of the concepts in Chapter 14 of the textbook. With that being said, let's dive in. I chose to present to you planning presentations, adapting the planning step of the three-step process to presentations. Before we begin, you may be asking yourself, why should I care? To which I would say, why wouldn't you? Beyond the text, I can tell you from my own personal career experiences, executives look for many of these skills when hiring and promoting employees. Presentations are the perfect opportunity to show off your communication skills, such as the ones listed in the slide. You're able to show off your ability to do solid research. This is going to be super important to executives as it shows that you really care and you are going to put in the time. You not only care about the research you're doing and the project you're working on, but also the company you're working for. You can show off your ability to plan, to write, your visual design skills, interpersonal and nonverbal communication skills. You're able to demonstrate your ability to think on your feet. You're able to demonstrate that you can grasp complex business issues and that you're able to handle challenging situations. All of these things are very important to executives. If you're given the chance to present in front of promoting executives or hiring managers, you've won the lottery. Make it count. If you have the pleasure of working on a career-changing presentation, you'll want time on your side. Preparing a presentation of this caliber will take a considerable amount of time. You'll need to analyze the situation, gather information, select the best media and channels, and organize the information. According to the textbook, Nancy Duarte, presentation designer and trainer, suggests 36 to 90 hours to research, conceive, create, and practice for a formal 1-hour presentation. Now, I don't know about you, but without proper planning ahead, I will never have a spare 36 to 90 hours of time on my hands, ever, not even during working hours. And I'd also like to note that Nancy Duarte has some excellent TED Talks, as well as numerous interviews and presentations on YouTube that have been extremely formative in my professional career, specifically when it comes to presentations and storytelling. I highly suggest you check them out if you have any extra time on your hands. I'd also like to read the quote from the slide. Spending energy to understand the audience and carefully crafting a message that resonates with them means making a commitment of time and discipline to the process. Now, as you can see, this is a quote by Nancy Duarte, but I find that this is extremely important as I've found tremendous success in my career when I focus on the audience I'm speaking to. If you're able to read the room, you can really speak to them. And unfortunately, not everybody is great at that. So when someone is, you really stick out, and that's super important in the corporate world as everyone is pretty much a number, and if you can stick out, you're really going to put yourself in a good position. Before you dive into analyzing, make sure to define your purpose. Then you'll know what questions you have about your audience. Often the goal of your presentation will be to inform or persuade. To achieve this goal, you'll need to understand your audience. Think of a toddler, right? My 5-year-old niece is not going to sit and listen to a presentation of this caliber. She'll be bored and done in seconds. But if I covered this presentation in things that interest, excite, or motivate her at her level, she will actively listen to what I have to say. Whereas if I'm creating a presentation for an executive of my company, my slides are going to focus on things like cost savings, increased productivity, and employee retention, things that interest, excite, or motivate company execs. At best, taking the time to do this analysis and learn your audience will help you achieve your goal for your presentation. And at worst, the audience won't be sleeping by the end of it. You're going to want to determine your audience size and composition. Are you presenting online or in person? And how many people will attend? What do they have in common? And how do they differ? Analyze their positions, their language fluencies, and demographics. Predict the audience's probable reaction. Why are they attending? What is the general attitude towards the topic? What kind of supporting information will help persuade them? What biases does your audience have? Anticipate rejection and questions. Gauge the audience's experience. Does everyone have the same background or experiences? What do they already know? Are they familiar with the vocabulary you intend to use? What does the audience expect from you? I find that the environment I am in changes how I perform during presentations. The way you prepare will change based off the environment you need to present in. I also have found that in my professional career, plans change constantly. It is important to be resilient to this change and have a backup plan if circumstances aren't as expected. Is the audience going to be in the same room as you? How will they be seated? Can you control the environment to minimize distractions? What equipment will you use? If the meeting is online, how will the technology you're using affect the audience's ability to see you and your presentation materials? The type of software or technology you're required to use may be mandated by your boss or customer. For example, my company uses Teams for all internal communication. However, when I am on meetings with my main customer, Ford, I'm required to use WebEx. This means that I have to be well versed in both technologies, and this was a learning curve for me, and it did cause issues in the beginning. So take note from me. Be well versed in multiple different kinds of presentation software. Occasionally, you will be lucky enough to utilize your preferred method of presentation software and technology. When this occurs, you can control your environment much more, making it even more important to take your time and give an outstanding presentation. There are two basic categories of organization for a presentation: linear and nonlinear. Linear, I think of a PowerPoint. We're moving from start to finish, from end to end. We're just going 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. When I think of nonlinear, I think of something more flexible. You can bounce back and forth. This is something like a Prezi. Linear presentations generally follow a fixed path from start to finish. An example is a speech, a status update, technical and financial presentations, or a presentation like the one I'm giving you today. Nonlinear presentations can move back and forth between topics and up and down in level of detail. They're most useful when you want to show complicated relationships between multiple ideas of elements. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but a great example is Prezi. We use this a lot in high school. It was really good for science projects because you're really able to go back and forth and show a lot of detail where you want to, and a lot of infographics. It's super helpful for something like that. It's also helpful when you're trying to engage your audience. You can create things like questions and go back and forth. It's really helpful for something like that. But for a presentation like this or a speech, it's going to be more linear. No matter what approach you take to the presentation, the next 4 points are important in the organization of your presentation. The first is to define your main idea. Compose a one-sentence summary that links your subject and supports your audience's frame of reference. If your main idea cannot fit into a single sentence, it probably needs to be more clearly defined. A good example of a main idea is the one listed in the PowerPoint, which I'll read now. Convince management that reorganizing the technical support department will improve customer service and reduce employee turnover. Next, you need to limit your scope. Don't bore your audience. Even if there is no time limit, keep things concise. The smartest people make a large impact in a short amount of time. This slide, we are going to go over more ways to organize your presentation. These are the last 2 points. Choosing your approach. Organize short presentations like a letter or other brief written messages. Organize long presentations as you would a report or a proposal. You're going to then want to prepare an outline. State your purpose and main idea, and then use those elements to guide the rest of your planning. Organize your major points and subpoints in logical order, expressing each major point as a single, complete sentence. Identify major points in the body first, then outline the introduction and close. Identify transitions between major points or sections, then write these transitions in full sentence form. Prepare your bibliography or source notes. Highlight those sources you want to identify by name during your talk. Choose a compelling title. Make it brief, action-oriented, and focused on what you can do for the audience. Okay, we've made it to the end. This is my works cited that you can see here. Thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation. I hope that this was informative and persuasive. We could all use a little help with our presentation skills. I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you.